You know what makes me sick? The WWE Universe has been begging, pleading for years to see certain dream matches happen, and Vince McMahon, Triple H, and the entire WWE machine just ignored us. But now, when AEW is supposedly struggling, when Tony Khan is making questionable booking decisions left and right, suddenly we're supposed to believe that Jon Moxley, the man who burned his bridges, the man who told WWE to shove it, the man who said he'd rather wrestle in a high school gym than go back to being Dean Ambrose, is coming back. And not just coming back, but returning alongside Roman Reigns, his Shield brother, after signing a massive new contract. Are we really this gullible? Or is something massive actually happening behind the scenes that's going to change professional wrestling forever? Let me break this down for you, because what I'm about to reveal is going to blow your mind. And I want you to stick around until the end, because the implications of this potential return are absolutely insane. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Jon Moxley didn't just leave WWE in 2019, he escaped. He went on Jericho's podcast and absolutely buried the company. He talked about ridiculous creative meetings, being handed terrible scripts, feeling like his soul was being crushed every single week. This wasn't a guy who left on good terms looking for a new challenge. This was a man who felt suffocated by the WWE system. He literally said he was worried he was going to die in a WWE ring because he was so mentally and physically exhausted. So explain to me, Wrestling's own one family, how does that guy come back? What could WWE possibly offer him that AEW hasn't already given him? Creative freedom? He's got it. Main event status? He's been AEW World Champion multiple times. Money? Tony Khan has deep pockets, arguably deeper than WWE in terms of what he's willing to spend per individual talent. But here's where it gets interesting. Roman Reigns is currently in the midst of the most dominant championship reign in modern WWE history. The tribal chief has destroyed everyone in his path. He's unified the titles, he's beaten every legend they've thrown at him, he's cemented himself as the face of WWE. But there's one piece missing from his story, one brother from the Shield that he hasn't stood alongside in years. Sure, we've seen Seth Rollins, but Moxley? That's the missing ingredient that could make Roman's story complete. Now, quick question for you guys, and I want you to answer this in the comments. If Moxley does return to WWE, should he reunite with Roman and Seth as the Shield, or should he immediately turn on them and become the ultimate antagonist? Drop your answers below, because I'm genuinely curious what the WWE Universe wants to see. Here's what my sources are telling me, and yes, I have sources in both companies who've been feeding me information. WWE has apparently offered Moxley a deal that's unlike anything we've seen before. We're talking about complete creative control, limited dates similar to what Brock Lesnar and Goldberg have had, and a guarantee that he won't be scripted word for word like he was during his Dean Ambrose days. Essentially, WWE is willing to let him be Jon Moxley in a WWE ring, not Dean Ambrose 2.0. But why now? Why would Triple H, who's been doing such an incredible job with WWE's creative direction, suddenly bend over backwards for a guy who publicly trashed the company? The answer is simple: money and legacy. WWE is in a new era. They've got monster deals with Netflix for Raw, they've got WrestleMania becoming bigger than ever, and they are trying to position themselves as the wrestling company in the world, not just a wrestling company. Having Jon Moxley, one of the biggest stars to ever leave WWE and become successful elsewhere, come back, that's a statement. That tells every single AEW wrestler, look, even the guys who supposedly hate WWE end up coming back. And let's be real about AEW for a second. I love AEW. I've supported them since day one. But let's not pretend everything is perfect over there. TV ratings have been inconsistent. Some of the booking decisions have been questionable at best. There's been locker room tension reported by multiple outlets. Stars like Centimeter Punk already left under controversial circumstances. If Moxley, one of AEW's founding pillars, were to leave, that would be devastating to Tony Khan's promotion. But here's the real kicker that nobody's talking about. What if this isn't just about Moxley returning? What if WWE is planning the most epic Shield reunion storyline of all time, culminating at WrestleMania? Imagine this: Roman Reigns, at the height of his power, finally achieves everything but his alone. The Usos have turned on him, Solo Sikoa has his own path, and Paul Heyman can only do so much. Roman is the tribal chief with no tribe. Then, out of nowhere, Sierra, Hotel, India, Echo, Lima, Delta, the lights go out, the crowd explodes. And standing at the top of the ramp are Seth Rollins and Jon Moxley, back in tactical gear, ready to reunite the Shield one final time. Not as helpers for Roman, but as equals, coming together to face an unprecedented threat to WWE itself, maybe a stable from AEW making an invasion, maybe a new faction that's taken over Raw and SmackDown. The storytelling possibilities are endless. Here's another question for you, and make sure you answer this one too. What would be the dream opponent for Jon Moxley if he returns to WWE? Would you want to see him face Roman Reigns one-on-one? Centimeter Punk if he ever came back? Drew McIntyre? Cody Rhodes? Let me know in the comments. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. This is all just internet rumors and speculation. There's no way this is actually happening. And you know what? You might be right. But let me present you with some facts that make this seem more plausible than you think. Fact number 1: Moxley's AEW contract is reportedly coming up soon. While the exact date hasn't been publicly confirmed, multiple wrestling journalists have indicated that he's in the final year of his deal. Fact number 2: WWE has been bringing back everyone lately. Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, Edge, Christian, even guys who we thought would never come back have returned. Triple H has shown he's willing to put egos aside and do what's best for business. Fact number 3: Moxley himself has softened his stance on WWE in recent interviews. He's no longer absolutely burying the company like he did in 2019. He's acknowledged that things have changed since Triple H took over creative. That's significant. Fact number 4: the wrestling business is always changing. Guys who swear they'll never go somewhere end up there all the time. Sting said he'd never wrestle in WWE. Then he did. Bret Hart said he'd never go back, then he did. Centimeter Punk said he was done with wrestling entirely, and look where he is now. The point is, never say never in professional wrestling. But let's talk about what this means for Roman Reigns specifically. The Tribal Chief story has been incredible, but where does he go from here? He's beaten everyone. He's held the titles for an unprecedented amount of time. He needs something fresh, something that feels new and exciting. Reuniting with Jon Moxley gives him that. It gives the WWE Universe a moment that we've been dreaming about since the Shield broke up. It gives us that nostalgia hit while also creating new storylines and possibilities. Imagine the promos. Imagine Roman Reigns and Jon Moxley standing face to face in the ring, acknowledging their past, their brotherhood, and everything they've been through. Imagine Moxley looking Roman in the eyes and saying, "I left because I needed to find myself, but I'm back because I realized, you're still my brother, and the bloodline isn't your real family. We are." The crowd would lose their minds. And here's something else to consider: WWE's locker room would benefit massively from having Moxley back. He's a veteran now, someone who's experienced success in multiple companies, someone who's main event around the world. Young talents could learn from him. The locker room culture could evolve. Plus, and this is purely speculation, but having Moxley back might open the door for WWE and AEW to eventually work together on some level. We've already seen Forbidden Door stuff between AEW and other companies. What if Moxley becomes the bridge that allows for an eventual WWE-AEW partnership? That would be unprecedented and would change the entire wrestling landscape. One more question for the comment section, and this is a big one: do you think Tony Khan would be willing to let Moxley go, or would he offer him absolutely everything to keep him in AEW? I want to hear your thoughts. Look, at the end of the day, whether this happens or not, the fact that we're even discussing the possibility shows how dramatically things have changed in professional wrestling. 5 years ago, this conversation would have been absurd. Jon Moxley returning to WWE? Impossible. But now, with Triple H in charge, with WWE's new corporate structure, with the wrestling landscape being more fluid than ever, it's not just possible, it might be inevitable. And if it does happen, if we do see Jon Moxley walk down that ramp alongside Roman Reigns, the Shield music hitting, that crowd erupting, that would be one of the greatest moments in WWE history. Period. So keep your eyes open. Wrestling Zone 1 family. Follow all the wrestling news sites. Watch for any hints on social media. Because if this does happen, it's going to happen fast, and you don't want to miss it. The wrestling world is about to change. The question is, are you ready for it? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below. Hit that like button if you want to see Moxley back in WWE. Subscribe if you haven't already, because we're covering everything as this story develops. And share this video with every wrestling fan you know, because they need to hear about this. Wrestling Zone 1, signing off. And remember, believe in the Shield.